Hey, welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways, Coyote in the Highlands. Still traveling? I'd like to talk a little bit about the crafter's dilemma. Well, actually the second crafter's dilemma, but this is going to be part one. I'm not going directly in order. But a little reminder, I am on Rumble as Coyote in the Highlands or Sideways Coyote. There's both channels, and I'm on YouTube as 23 Degrees Sideways. And that's going to last, I'm probably just going to cross-post because Rumble makes it easy. And it's going to last until YouTube deletes my account for saying bad things about viruses or medications. And I'm not gonna make a point of it, but I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Like if it comes up, they're going to delete me for saying a bad thing because authoritarian censorship is the way of the process right now. You got to kind of go through that process before you have the revolution, and hopefully we'll spiral up in liberty on this adventure. I want to talk about the crafter's dilemma, actually the second crafter's dilemma, but this is going to be part one anyway. And so the first crafter's dilemma has to do with profits and competition and copycattedness. But it's not really what we're talking about right now. The second crafter's dilemma is something that, depending on your expectations, your life expectations, your economic expectations, and economic participation level, this second dilemma is relatively new. And it's very much an American crafters kind of thing, American craft show, American cottage industries kind of thing. And it has to do, it's a process. It's not just a dilemma, it's a process dilemma. Like it's worse now than it ever was. For example, I used to do a lot of leather work, and I would do designs and carve runes and stuff for people, and that's all gone. As a cottage industry, it's gone because of lasers. CNC laser cut, crickets with the vinyl stickers, everything. All of this has basically turned cottage industry, medium volume production of art, carved leather, custom coffee mugs, t-shirts, whatever, into a graphics design industry. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to learn how to take care of leather. There's nothing there. I'm not saying this is bad, but it's all a mass production graphic design industry. It's not even individual art. It's graphic design into a 3D source code or a graphic source code that you then send to a CNC, to a computer controlled machine, and then it does the stuff. And that's fine. Mass production has taken away the hand-hammered, hand-poured silversmith of the 17th century, right, or 18th century, right? Like all of this stuff has changed, and there's good and there's bad and there's in between. So, in one sense, of course, your job does not matter in a real-world sense unless you are taking care of the computers that make stuff, computers, robots. Moving stuff, moving goods where humans are still involved, like shipping and trucking, or growing food. Pretty much everything else is make work at this point, okay? It's some inefficiency in the system that requires human intervention, and a lot of it is deliberate, like deliberate inefficiencies, control mechanisms. So, sorry to burst your bubble, but if you aren't growing the food, moving the food, or repairing the robots, taking care of the computers that make everything, you're useless. Not really, okay? There are always areas where humans add value. And this is where the crafter's dilemma comes in. At this point in time, if your economic goal is solely to spend as little money as possible, you can get jewelry made in China. You can get real precious metal jewelry made in China at 5, 10, 15% over spot metal cost. Okay? It's going to be produced in a factory, with minimal, even in China, where they have slave labor and labor camps, it's going to be minimal human intervention. Whatever robot is cheapest, whether the robot is human or the robot is mechanical. That's how these economics work. China, paintings. The majority of the paintings for sale in the United States at this point in time are made in China in a mass production system. Okay, that's what it is. So let's say you have a thing, a widget, you make coffee cups, all right? There's no possible way in hell you can compete with China. It's the crafter's dilemma. You can't compete with Amazon. You will never beat Amazon, eBay, Wayfair, whatever it is. Never gonna beat them. And they will, if you do something, this happened in the custom knife world, if you do something, you do a design. I spent over a decade making knives. My knife designs became the basic catalog for a mass production company not in China, fortunately, at least it was in South America, but their initial catalog was my knives, some of which had been reviewed by the guy who started the company. That's the crafter's dilemma. What do you do about that? What do you signify? How do you make a living? Well, the first thing is you don't have to sell 5 million widgets, coffee cups, okay? You need to sell some coffee cups. The second thing is you just have to convince people that there is a human value. Okay? We're rapidly reaching a point where handmade items, things that have actual imperfections in them, like a drip on the paint when you're painting the ceramic coffee mug before you fire it, where those things actually matter. There are certain Japanese aesthetics and art forms and industries where this is actually a thing, okay? Like wabi-sabi is a very specific aesthetic that you can't duplicate on a CNC router. You can fake it, but you can't do it. You can't duplicate it. That is going to be important for crafters. This is where the crafter's dilemma has some solution. Now, the people have to be willing to pay, and this is where things get a little weird. One of the fundamental basic things about capitalism is that you get to choose where you spend your money. And I've gone to craft shows and I've had these arguments with people. Well, I can order that on Amazon for 99 cents. No, you can't. You can order something that is, in theory, functionally similar on Amazon for 99 cents, made in China. Like if you want to support a company that hates the Second Amendment, you want to support a foreign nation that has issues with liberal democracy. If you want to support all that, that's your money. Spend it where you want. Just remember that is what you are doing, is spending it where you want. If you pay me the extra $5, yeah, it's 99 cents versus $6. Does it affect you financially in a significant sense? Is it like a bag drop level of stuff, or is it a house payment level of stuff? Think about that. What are you supporting? Where is that money going to go? Is that $6 that you spend instead of 99 cents actually is going to support you in the economic cycle? It's not going to just go off and be 2 cents of profit for the Chinese Communist Party or whatever. And this is a thing, and I'm not really making up the numbers either. This is how it goes, okay? You can get a custom coffee mug, custom looking. You can get a meme coffee mug off of Amazon, made in China for $5. That's gonna cost you $15 if a ceramic artist at a craft show makes it. That's the difference, and it could be something more like $7 and $30. That is the scale of difference. But we live in a time where the economic abundance is extreme, and that the price difference isn't actually going to hurt you. So you have to make that decision. You have to make that as a capitalist economy involved person. You make the decision on how you spend your money and what that supports. and that's just, it's a nightmare. Like grocery shopping, Walmart, iPhones. There's no way to be morally pure, but you can absolutely do this on an individual level by having someone, you look them in the face, they made the item. That's a really big deal. It's the solution to the crafter's dilemma. It is made by a person by hand. And that means that it is functionally unique. Does that matter to the customer? Well, that doesn't matter. You can't determine that for them. You can't tell people to care. You know, you can't train them to care. I mean, you can talk. You can go to your coffee shops, your social interactions. You can live the life that cares, and demonstrate. But you can't go control people. You can't really judge them for it either. Our whole society is structured around training people that they need more cheap stuff all the time. You know, you can't buy one coffee mug from China on Amazon. You have to buy a new one every month, every meme. That's kind of a big thing. You know, I used to do Ren fairs, and I had a Bernie's Breakfast ceramic mug. These were made 1 year in Colorado Ren Fair that I did, and I had that thing for 12 years. I got really pissed when it broke. I had that thing for 12 years, and that was just my mug. And now I have a generic stainless Starbucks mug, but I've had that since 2004. You know, the little holder on the pop lid broke off at some point, but the seal's still, it's just a sippy. It's not like sealed for drop proof or anything, but I've still got it. It's generic. I really wish it was a handmade item, but I still have it, and it's still my mug. I don't need to buy another one every meme cycle, but that's what the training is you buy another one every meme cycle. And so there you have a false economics. Yeah, you bought the 99-cent thing instead of the $5 thing, but you bought the 99-cent thing 20 times. I don't know. I'm not sure you're coming out ahead there. So, Crafter's Dilemma, part 2, but this is part 1, and that is everything can be mass-produced with absolute aesthetic perfection and computer precision, and it's all graphic design and mass production. And that makes it really hard to run the cottage industry type of thing, you know, to be a crafter. And we've been seeing this creeping throughout the 20th century and then the 21st century on the craft show circuit, on the Ren Fair circuit, on the gun show circuit, on whatever it is you're doing. And, well, it's a thing to think about. Where do you get the value? And that value is partly in supporting crafters. That value is partly in having a unique and handmade item. That's all I got. It's something to think about in economic terms. And as a crafter, or as an independent businessman. Stay sideways.